Right. Okay, yeah, we're in Taf Lamed Ches Gimel. I'll just ask everyone to, this would be for Shlomo, for my father, Ruben ben Malta. So we're in the Hamaskir Bayis Chavera. Someone rented a house from someone, but Chetz is Baduk. That it was probably, so it's Baduk already. It comes in, Erev Pesach. And Imta Shein Baduk comes in, and there's sandwiches all over the place. Al Hasaycher Livdoik. Einu Mekachtos. The Soicher has to check. Adding something, and nor is it a Mekachtos. Now, even in a place where they would pay people to go and check. So now, you're being really supposed to pay people for this. Mitzvah hu oisa, for example, let's say he would get, if I rented a house and he would get inside and he would need to paint the walls. I don't know, whatever it is. He usually hires someone to paint the walls so he can take off the amount from the rent of how much it costs to go ahead and paint the walls. But since by Bedika's Chametz it's a mitzvah, so this the Mechaber holds that it's a mitzvah anyway. So then he can't take down the money. He can't. It's a mitzvah to do it. It's nothing to do with the chiv mammon. Even if you pay people, that's immaterial. It's a mitzvah that he has to do. Haga. V'yesh oimin d'tzarich lahachzil l'schar bedika. Some say Taka has to go ahead and he has to take off the rent schar bedika. Ho v'hisne behedja sheyeh baduk. He said, "Listen, I'm coming in, Pesach," and he said it should be baduk. And Mishabura says that Halach l'maisi, you go like the first day because we say the concept of kimli, that if it went to Bezdin, and there's two shitas, so then the nitzvah could say, listen, I say kimli like the first day of the mechaber. Prove to me, you have to prove to me that the mechaber is wrong and the Ramah is right. We can't be motzi mammon in this case. Unless the other guy is pay, he's muchzak. Unless the other guy is muchzak in the money, the nitzvah is muchzak, the tevei is muchzak in the money. Different, The other thing is about mekachtos is that the thing with mekachtos is that why isn't it mekachtos? You went ahead, you rented the apartment, you show up 2 hours before Pesach, you come into the Pesach house, nothing was done. Call the guy, ask her up. Sorry, I just forgot. I don't know, whatever. So why is it not mekachtos? So the truth is, the Sivus and Orach Chaim here, he says that listen, if it's a case where it's a case where it's something which is not, if you knew it's something which is if you rent an apartment, rent a house, and the house is not usable. There's for say there's a leak in the roof and it's pouring down, and it's considered mekachtos. It's not a house which is livable. Here, if he walks in places like there's pile of stuff everywhere, and then Bedika, if something's going around, I guess it's pretty easy. But if it needs to do he needs to be clean for Pesach, and not just Bedika has to be clean for Pesach, everything like that. So that could be already. This is not what the Shulchan Aruch is talking about. That could be, it's not even, that's definitely mekachtos, because it's not a house, it's not even a house he could live in. It's not really for Pesach b'chlal. If he has to go clean the house, kitchen's filthy, all these things, whatever, that's not going to work. But,
he's just talking about both or not both.
Right. Right. So that if it's just, he needs to do the Bedika, so that's already, that's something which is annoying, but it's not toz be'etzem in the Mecca. Bayis shehuchzak shelobadko hamaskir. If the house is muchzak, the maskir did not check it. V'amro isho eved katan anu bakinu. Let's say the guy was in the hospital. I don't know, whatever. He's off in the Tahiti. So and his wife forever said, but it's okay. You got an Airbnb, you show up right before Pesach, and the worker, she has to be Jewish, says, I checked it. So is that the guy's son? I don't know. Is that good? And there are ne'eman. It has to be And the katan has to be old enough that, I'm not talking about a 6-year-old. So, the 11-year-old, says, I checked it for my father and it's all good. So, there's no chiyuv, since it's the din d'Rabbanan, there's no chiyuv to go ahead and to, go ahead and check it. Tafla meches, achbar shenichas l'bayis baduk, kikar b'fiv.
But the Mishnah points out in Homokom L'Chazkila in Achom L'Tzavot L'Eil.
Right.
Put them in charge.
Right, but Chachila you shouldn't, because there's different Yerushalmi. The Yerushalmi says that Chachila, a woman shouldn't do it. Obviously, Bedikas Chametz can be a very involved process. Even though Orach Shulchan does say that most people are samech on the chazaka that the wife cleaned up and you're samech on the fact she cleaned up really well and everything but Al Kopani on Shemaisa people here at Shemayim usually spend more than just looking around a little bit with their candle and they actually check everything and check under beds and check whatever. So then that heavy process is questionable whether Isha Eved or Katan can put the actual effort in or just say it's probably fine. Especially the woman who cleaned for Pesach. She's, I cleaned. What do you mean? I cleaned, so I don't have to check it.
The woman is alone. Does she have to hire a man?
No. It's Yerushalmi. It's only Chilo, and it's not. And could be it's better, but we don't pass like the Yerushalmi. It's just I'm bringing. There is the Gemara does bring it, but he doesn't only be passing like. The Tafel Meches Achbar shenichas l'bayis bodok kikar b'fiv. A mouse went into a house which was baduk, and he has a piece of bread in his mouth. Nichas acharav matzah pirur, and you ran after and you find crumbs. If you look at a kol kikar, even though it looks like the whole kikar was crumbled up. Tzarich lachsa relivdak abayis achar kikar shehichnis. You have to go ahead and check the house again. To check and be sure that that it's not there. If you ain't darko shel achbar the fire, achbar doesn't crumble it up. He eats it. The hani peru and ba'alma. This is happens to be. We say it's a crumb. Someone else must have walked in or you just missed it, and there might be some other chametz somewhere. Also miyama also v'lo od me'ois kikar. And we say it's totally a miyama also after that kikar. But im tinuk nichnas l'bayis. But if his little kid. His 2-year-old ran into the house, baduk, the kikar b'yado, and he had cookies, he had a bag of pretzels, right? V'nichnas acharav, he chased after, don't go in there, or into the room. Also we're talking about a room, not just the whole house. It's enough that if the achbar or the kid, this is closed off for Pesach, and they did a check, kid runs into the room with a bag of pretzels, oy vavoy, matzah peru, and you find bits of pretzels on the floor. You don't have to go ahead and to check. We assume that he ate it. Hela peru and shenaflu it was not peru and stam. It's peru that fell from his hand. He was munching on the food. B'shas achilo shederech hatinok l'fire, because a little kid eats, he drops food out of his mouth. It's normal for it to fall on the floor. You can be told it was from this piece, these crackers or whatever. But some say that if the piruim aren't, there isn't enough to go ahead and say it's a whole kikar, then tzarich lachzor will leave it. Don't say it's a chazaka that the kid ate it. Again, we're talking about a case where the Mishnah points out, feel a low bitlo. The Chaim say the difference between bitlo and low bitlo, we're going to see in this sim and next sim, is we say it's an issa d'Rabbanan, issa d'Oraisa. If it was mevatel the chametz, there is a din bitul chametz. He has to be sure, and you have to get rid of the chametz also, right? And if you see chametz, you have to get rid, even though it was batel. But any suffix after your mevatel turns into a suffix d'Rabbanan. But over here in this case, this is not totally. Mishra points out this is not totally on. That we're makel or not is not totally on this. Whether it's this is Rabbanan, this is Deraisa. In either case, we first day holds just the chazaka that he ate it. Even if it's a subject Deraisa, we say that he ate it. And the next shita And then unless with Choshesh, we don't hold Chaskaso Achlo. Even Choshesh, there's a little bit of there was a bit left. So if you don't see Keri Kol Kikar Tzarech Lachzor V'Livdog, then you got to go ahead and do Bedika again. Then the Achbar Nichnas Yotze Hishme Harav Ho V'Lo Shchichi. The case of Achbar, there's a case in Gemara which the Achbar ran in the house and then ran out saw a mouse run in with the kikar in his mouth and ran out the other door. So the Gemara talks about we told it was the same Achbar, not the same Achbar, and if he ran into the house and the chulda was chasing it and the chulda ran out with the kikar in its mouth, so then do you assume that was the kikar? He dropped it and took it. Whatever. These are more lumdish cases in the Gemara, but in Lachal Amaisa it's not so. They're not so common, so that's why the Mechaber left it out. Kazayis chametz mala ala kaira. If you kazayis chametz, you on top of the kaira, right? Your kid hit a sandwich, or a kid took a pack of cookies and hit it up on top of the kitchen, on top of the kitchen cabinets. If he has to get a step stool, you have to go bring a step stool and take it down. Sometimes it might fall off on Pesach, right? If it's one step, maybe not, but you're talking about a case of a ladder, or you have to climb up or high up to get it. So then, maybe you'll fall out on Pesach. But if it was inside some sort of bore or pit, something like that, so you don't have to climb down into the pit to take it up, but he should just mevatel it, and that's enough. Shura points out that if his kid says, "Yeah, I put there's a loaf of bread down in the cellar," I don't know, not the cellar, but I guess it's in a pit, whatever. He used to store bread and things inside the ground. He keeps it cool. Instead of refrigerators, he kept it cool. So, then you'd have to go ahead and go down and get it, because this is only a heter if you're mevatel it. Since you're mevatel it, and you can be mevatel it, so it's fine. But if you did it, if you can't, so then we're not choshish that you're gonna, that someone's gonna climb into the board and take it out on Pesach. It's like a case of gal. Okay, this is the next of a case. If it's high up or hard to get to, it's called a kilo. It's a gal shenafel of which in bittul is enough.
Does this bar have to be a 10 fucking?
It doesn't. I was wondering. I don't know. It doesn't say. The chara has to be difficult enough to get down. If you could just stick your hand down, it's like a little. If it's just a little thing, obviously, it would. If it's easy to get to, I can't imagine. Just like if we just say like the idea, you have to go on a sulam to get it. So this bore would have to be. It's hard enough to get to the bottom. That it would be the same idea. If it's easy, just bend down and pick it up. It's probably not. You're not talking about that case here. Tishat tzibur and shamatza ve'echad shachametz. If you have 9 tzibur of matzah and 1 of chametz. Uba achbar v'natal. He went and ran and took one, but later he natal chametz or natal matzah. He can't tell which one he took. The nichlas by his balok, and he ran into a checked house. Tzarech lachzor levatko. Like we said before, you got to go ahead and check it. I'll skip the Rama for 1 second. Shakol kavua k'mechsa mechsa. This is the din of kavua, that even though there's a din, that it's also the same. The same we get to Tisha Chanuyos. This is a Gemara in Pesachim. There's a Gemara in Ksuvos talks about Tisha Chanuyos and Mishnah. If you have 9 stores of kosher and 1 of treif, and then you find a piece of meat, they're all similar things. This is it's called a kavua. If it's all set up in one place, they're all in one set pile. It's kemechta mechta. You don't go basarov. Usually go basarov, but here you don't go basarov. So the Ramah says, if it's small enough that the achbar could have eaten it completely, talian lahakel, you do say lahakel she'achlo, the ein sarach livdok, you can do a tzliya, as the Mishabur points out, it's a fake sveika. Shema natal matzah, we don't know, maybe you took the matzah. If you say with chametz, shema achlo, you can be told on the fact that maybe he ate it, and it's a fake sveika. And the Sveik Sveika will pater you from doing a Bedika. And the Mishabura says, from the Chok Yaakov, that you could be samach on the Sveik Sveika, even though Prima Gadim says you should still be Mevatel, which we do anyway. Achopanim, in Pirish, our kikar, Rimakum Kviyah. So if one kikar was parish from, you had it on the table, and if one fell down to the floor, and not lo achbar misham, and then the achbar took it from there, ayin tzarech l'achzor l'izok, then you don't have to. You check the kol parish, ruach parish is a din that we say that anything that is parish from parish, you don't say it's akavu anymore. It's not mechsa. We say go kol parish, ruach parish, it came from the rove, which was matzah, and you wouldn't have to check the house.
Even though you had 10 savurim, and this fell out of one of the savurim, which is kavua, but once it fell out, we say it's rov. If everything got mixed together, this is stam. It's a third din of tarovis, which is completely different. There's the din of things are in set areas, and we say kol parish, ruka parish, or there's set animals or whatever it is. If it's having a mixture, that's something else. That we'll get to at a different point. Shnei tziburim, echad shel chametz, echad shel matzah. If you have two piles, chametz and matzah, shnei batim, echad baruch, echad sheinu baruch, and one's checked and one's not. Ubo shnei achbarim, you have two mice, zen atul chametz, zen atul matzah, and you do le'ezah bayis nichnas zeh shel atul chametz. You don't know which one the chametz went into. Hein shnei batim bedukim, v'tzibur echad shel chametz, uba achar v'naltal, and you do le'ezah bayis nichnas. You don't know which house he went into. Oh, sheyada shenichnas echad mehem nichnas achar v'barak lo matzah klum, and did a bedika. Or what of the other house? Oh, shebarak sas mehabayis u'matzah kikar, or he checked and Taka found the kikar. Ein tzarech la'aseh v'livdok. He doesn't have to check anymore. He doesn't have to check the other house. You don't have to assume it went into the other house. We're told that it went. The first case is the first case is, that you're always told that it's like a case of in Yeridea that you have an Isser fell into two pots. One pot was Asr, one pot was Mutter. We're told that the Isser fell into the Asr thing. It's a din. So too over here, we're told the fact that we assume that the Isser, the Chametz, went into the Chametz house, and you can be told because it's a suffix, and you can be told on that. The other case is or else without choshish, that's enough to go ahead. You don't have to check the other house. If you check one house completely and there's nothing, that's enough. You don't have to check the other house. You told her of the fact that it was probably in this house, or you found the kikar there. You say it was this house. You don't have to assume it was. You don't have to check the other house. Ramal says, "Kachain diver."
He checks the house and finds nothing. He doesn't check the other house.
He doesn't have to check the other house because we're told that it was there, and that's enough. That's the din. It's a din of tzliya or something you have to check. Or the Shavur says that the circle daita of the circle chafetz kalam pa'amim. Could be you don't have to check the other house, but could be you have to keep on checking till you find it. That we say you can't find it once you checked it. You assume that the achbar ate it. You don't assume that. This is where you saw it go into one house. Sorry. You don't have to check the other house because you know it didn't go into the other house, but you checked. You checked for it, and so therefore you could just tell on the fact that he ate it. But the Ramah holds that, going back to Sif Aleph, the Ramah holds that if it's small enough that the Akhbar ate it. That's what it depends on. It depends on whether it's, if it's small enough, that if they both come on the same, you have a the Mishabura says, "I feel bitul mahani like a shabo lishol b'zeh charzeh olevasachas." Given the vada nichas the chametz avayis echel mehem, since chametz vada went into one, yefshir lahatira b'vasachas. You can't say they're both mutter. You have to keep on checking unless it was small enough that that the achbar ate it. You have then there it is a clear suffix, but just because you didn't see it, it doesn't take you out of the suffix, and you have to go ahead and check until you find it. In the Yaktisha Kikaras Chametz Matzah Asara, you put in 9 kikaros chamins and you find 10, tzarich livdok achar kol tisha, you need to go ahead and check, because maybe there's someone else, maybe your kid, your wife hid 10 pieces, and 9 pieces, and your kid also thought, what a great idea, I'm going to hide 10, and this was a different 10, and then you have to go ahead and look for the other one. You only find 9. You need to look for the whole asar. We say it's different ones. That's only if they're tied together, or one bag. You only have to look for the one. You have to search for the one. I was always wondering if you can't find it and you look, like, you're looking all night. They're not getting the joke, but that's funny. You're looking all night, you can't find it, and you've looked everywhere. Okay, at a certain point, I guess it's so you could just you mevatel it, because it's chametz is somewhere there, but if it's hidden so well that you can't even find it, so then the chametz like gal. I don't know
Is the shear in Zman like in Rambam, like Chomesh? You spend it's.
I don't know. No one talks about. I don't know. No one. I don't know. I don't know about that. That's why. I don't know how. No, I have to look into more how long you have to search for it, but you have to put a real search in and check again, and I don't know, whatever. Doesn't say how much. If your wife wrote down it was here and this side, and it turns out it was somewhere else, I found this one. You got to keep on looking for the other one, because this is probably something else. Okay, we'll stop here. Okay, let's see.
Once you check the whole house.
Well, but that's what you really have to check it again. I don't